Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls from all over the world, my name is Brandon Davis, aka Rags to Riches. And as always, I don't really know why you're here right now, but nonetheless, let's check chat here. Let's see what's happening. Sandy B, the dude, first DJ in here. I guess I doxed that first like too. FML, Sandy, that's what you do, man. You just jagging stuff up all the time, man. Mudhog. I'll just hide and see what this is all about. Viber Finance CEO, can you leverage trade him? KD says double show, no way. What's good, everyone? My online ghost, Hexy Quinn in the house. Laugh out, no. How about sweet dad or spicy dad? I don't know where that's going. Steven R. Do not like, comment, or subscribe or view this content. Rags forehead, though. Professor X. One day, he's just going to stream telepathically. Supreme Ayatollah or Supreme I done told you. What is up, everyone? All right, ladies and gentlemen, you guys kind of know how these go. I've done quite a few notable projects over the past couple years streaming, right? So I think I was actually one of the first folks to have Alex from Hedron on board. And then I've done some projects that have come to market, and I've done some projects that never made it to market. So, one of the things that's important for me to convey to my audience is, as always, it's important to know that when I conduct a project interview, my purpose is to get project owners on record. The success or the failure of these projects are not my concern. Selfishly, this kind of gives me the opportunity as well to speak directly to the project founders. However, my concern is uncovering accurate information and giving people a chance in town square to inform or to create their own opinions based on the information provided in my streams. And I think we owe it to builders who've been around in the community a while to give them a platform. I hope to see the very few gatekeepers of information in the community have their walls completely torn down. And I would hope to see that regular community members seek out truth for themselves. And maybe streams like this can help in that effort. So, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, I would like to introduce Jacob from Pulsechain IOU. Jacob, how is life, my man?
Hello, Brandon. Thank you for inviting me to this stream. I'm looking forward to it as always, and life is doing good. We are working every day, and we are looking forward to Pulse Chain launch as everyone else.
Yeah, man. One of the things that I noticed, you guys came on scene, man, and it really sparked up a whole lot of controversy, it seems. And one of the things I wanted to have you on here, because the more I kind of looked into it, the more I found out like kind of your background, who you were, what projects you were associated with, and it didn't seem just as cut and dry as this project is a scam. So I think that was one of the important reasons why I decided to kind of chat with you here. So maybe before we kind of get into your project, you can give the audience some background about who you are development wise, what projects you've done in the past, and how did you come about to be in this community.
Absolutely, I would love to do that. So, my name is Jacob. I'm a family father of three from Denmark. I've been professionally software programming for 15 years. Run my own company with hundreds of clients. And roughly around 2017, I switched my focus to developing on crypto, which was a few years before Hex went live. Um, I was following Richard back in the days, way before Hex, and I was enjoying his content, and that was my entry into the Hex and then the Pulse chain and all of that. Um, I've been building in this space for 2 years now. Some time ago, last year, we had a sacrifice phase for a project called Pulsepot, which was a 100% unique, innovative gambling decentralized application where anyone who enjoys that kind of adult entertainment, they can play on a much more secure and no censorship platform, where they can basically spend their crypto on games. We We were, I think, the fifth or fourth largest sacrifice projects out of hundreds of projects, and we were actually the first project to go live with a token after the sacrifice in the entire ecosystem. So we have delivered before, and now we are trying to help Pulsechain grow with this new adoption project.
Cool. So I guess that kind of it was one of the first things that I looked at. And when I talk to my community, I say you want to look for a team that has some sort of reputation or some sort of track record. And the first box that was checked for me was the fact that you guys had launched a project previously, and you guys had done a sacrifice. I remember that about a year ago. And was that on B&B? It didn't launch on Ethereum, did it?
No, we the
Or
sacrifice was on
BSC.
BNB and Ethereum. But as we all know, the massive delays on Pulsechain, we intended to do the first deployment on Pulsechain, but simply because of the delays, we decided to deploy on BNB chain first, and we would be a multi-chain project. So we moved a BNB chain one step ahead, and the next deployment will now be the Pulsechain because I'm feeling fairly optimistic that the time frame is definitely shorter than it's ever been. So
Awesome. Okay, cool. Um, and what I'll do, I'll just kind of share this website. And I'm sorry the resolution is off. I have a really big screen here, but um, Pulsechain IOU. Now, this was pretty interesting to me, and I'm going to pull this up here. Um, I think this helped kind of spark some controversy, but I think you had mentioned in one of your Twitter posts, you had mentioned that Pulsechain was currently trading at 0.00225.
yes,
So I thought that was pretty interesting. And what I'm going to do, I'll bring this tweet up here. And yeah, there it is. So you're saying that Pulsechain is now trading, it has a price at 0.00225. And I think you'd said that previously. I looked in some of the comments. Some of the comments really blew up. So I kind of want you to kind of go ahead and explain to the chat here how exactly Pulsechain IOU works.
okay, I would love to do that. So, as most of you know, the Pulsechain sacrifice happened roughly 2 years ago. And when we look at the amount of wallets that sacrifice for that, and we compare it with the Pulse X sacrifice, there's roughly 100,000 wallets difference. To me, that means that there's most likely 100,000 wallets that missed out on the Pulsechain sacrifice simply because they came too late or they didn't have liquidity or whatever reason. It seems to me that there's a lot of people who would have loved to get a larger sacrifice in on Pulsechain or simply just have any sacrifice in. So when you combine that with a never-ending sacrifice phase where the rate at some point reaches just as a rate that is obviously completely out of this world, right? Because right now, if you sacrifice to the official sacrifice wallet, you would pay roughly $8 per PLS. And if you sacrifice during the 14-day concentrated phase, you would get 10,000 PLS for $1. So obviously the rate has at this point risen so much that it's practically like throwing money out of the window, I would say. Um, and we were looking at the on-chain records for these sacrifices like months back, right? And you would see $50,000, like $10,000, $100,000 just coming in at these crazy rates, like 350x day one sac. And we're talking about millions and millions of dollars. People who really want to become a part of this ecosystem, they want to be holders, but they're simply served with no option, I feel like. So what we thought to ourselves was, why do we not build a token on Ethereum that represents a one-to-one swap when the Pulsechain mainnet goes live? what we would do is we would go around to some of the most respected project founders and individuals in our community, and we would ask, are you willing to put up some of your sacrifice tokens? And then we would make them liquid on Ethereum. And some of them said no, and some of them said yes. We propose that we start the price at a 20x of a day one sacrifice. So that means that anyone who provides liquidity for this is immediately up 2000% of their initial investment. Because these people who own this, the real sacrifice PLS, they wouldn't part ways with it for a 5x, not even a 10x. Like this is people who sacrifice for PLS because they truly believe in it and they really appreciate their sacrifice. So we had to raise it to a 20x before it was interesting for people to provide that liquidity so that we could have a project like this. So what this does, in our opinion, is it opens the doors for people who missed it, but accept that it will now be slightly more expensive. And actually, we saw just the other day, there was a Hex whale with $4 million in value on his account. He bought $13,000 of PLS IOU token for a 23x on the average day one sec. The exact same wallet sacrificed for Pulsechain at a 384x rate. So because this product is now available, he could reduce his rate from 384 down to 23, which is obviously a massive improvement in the amount of token you're getting for your dollar. But this also introduces a trust element. And I think that most of us would agree that yes, there's also a trust element on Pulsechain, but I think we are way past that where everyone is probably trusting Richard already. So that is not really a concern. But when someone else like me does this, then the trust element kind of, becomes relevant again, because who says that when Pulsechain goes live, how can I know that this token I'm buying now is actually swappable one-to-one on the mainnet? And there will be a trust element in that. This product here, the IOU system, simply cannot work at this point in time without having that trust element. And that's also why we decided to back, we created an insurance fund for this with more than 1,000 Ethereum in it, so that anyone who would have any worry about not being compensated the PLS that they were promised, they can return to the insurance fund and get all of their USDC back, or whatever token they prefer. Because trust is a part of a system like this, and it is important to understand that what kind of risk you are indulging into. But I just want to make one point, is that in this ecosystem we have more than 150 different sacrifices for projects, right? Every single of these sacrifices is you parting away with your value to get you basically get, you hope to get a token later, right? And this is the exact same thing. You buy the PLS IOU token, you part ways with your value, and then you hope that when Pulsechain goes live, you can get your actual tokens. The only difference is here that you're getting real PLS instead of some sort of other project token. So you could look at this as a sacrifice project where I'm just getting real PLS instead.
Okay. I'm pulling up the contract address right now. I wanted to check to see how many holders you guys currently have.
I think it's 130 maybe.
Yeah, let's check here. Yeah, right around that. So the next question that I wanted to ask you guys was this. Are you able to buy PLS IOU as much as you want, or is it just a one-time thing?
So we only minted 1 billion PLS IOU.
Okay.
And that's because we have 1 billion from the verified backers of the project. 1 billion tokens guaranteed. So we only had to mint 1 billion tokens. And these tokens are added as a single-sided V3 liquidity position starting from a 20x, which is 0.002 USDC per PLS IOU. And then there's a full liquidity position right up until $1 a PLS IOU. This means that as more gets sold, the price will go up.
Okay. And so this kind of segues into something else here, and it's important because if people do any type of research, obviously the Pulse Police review came out. It
Yes.
had, obviously you guys. It seems like you guys have to have admin keys based on what you're attempting to pull off here. The owner can mint the tokens, but that has to happen based on what you're telling me. There is obviously a rug risk there, and the deployer obviously received the total supply, which is also a rug risk. So maybe explain to the crowd why you made these decisions. Why is that information and that report out there on Telegram and the Pulse Police?
Yeah. So I think first of all, the Pulse Police are doing a phenomenal job. They are very, appreciated service. They do it for free, and I'm 100% sure that they have saved thousands of dollars from people by steering them away from truly bad projects. And for that, I am forever in debt. I really appreciate these guys. But in our case, I truly believe they kind of jumped the gun. And the reason for that is sometimes context should probably matter. Um, but if you are dealing every day with meme tokens and tax tokens, and you see these type of admin keys, I think you get in a certain position where anytime you just see this, it just equals a scam, right? And unfortunately, we had the Pulse Police guys. They were literally commenting on all of our 17 Twitter posts with like big scam in capital, and then a screenshot of this to warn everyone that this was certainly a scam, and they had made their mind up. But I think what they kind of forgot was that maybe there should be a 5 minutes due diligence on stuff like this. So first and foremost, who is producing this? Well, it's actually a team with merits. Second of all, is this project even feasible without these functionalities? And no, it's not. So, for instance, we have an admin key for everything. We literally control everything. And the reason for that is because that's how any investor would want it. The second Pulsechain goes live, we need to pull all of the liquidity out of the LP, and we need to blacklist and block all transaction possible. Because in that moment when the fork happens, it's very important for us that we get a clean snapshot on who owns which IOU tokens so that we can manage the claim dApp that we are deploying with the correct liquidity on Pulsechain. Imagine if we couldn't do that. What happens when the fork happens? People would start sell on the ETH side and they would drain all the USDC, and then they still have the token over at Pulsechain, so they would start claim. Obviously, wouldn't want that, because if we do not pull that USDC liquidity, then we don't have the funds to pay the liquidity baggers. And if we don't have the funds to pay the liquidity baggers, then those guys are not going to submit the PLS to the claim dApp, right? So these functionalities are in fact features. They are not rock risks, because something that is extremely important to understand is that any admin key on the Ethereum side is completely irrelevant. There is a deeper level of trust from the same exact entity. So I will give you an example. When Pulsechain goes live, a lot of wallets would get airdropped or would automatically have the PLS. The people we have partnered up with to create this, they would have to take that from the wallet, use their private key, and deposit it into this claim dApp, right? That is an action that is based on trust. They need to honor the promise to me to fill up the claim dApp so that the people who owns the token can come and claim it and empty it, basically, right? So that the tokens match, like for every single token we mint on the Ethereum will match 1-to-1 with how many we have available in the claim contract on Pulsechain. But what's extremely interesting to me is that everyone is focusing on the admin keys on Ethereum. But if you think about it, it doesn't matter at all because there's a deeper level of trust that the exact same entity has to perform anyways. So these admin keys on the Ethereum side, the only thing they do is give us the ability to actually perform a better execution of this operation here. So that the holders get what they were promised, so that the liquidity providers get what they were promised. These are features, not rug risks. So just from my perspective, we are just completely tunnel visioned on a feature admin key in the east side, but completely ignore the fact that you are dependable on trust on the Pulsechain side anyways. So if those admin keys they weren't even in there, let's just assume that it would not make any difference. If I had 100 admin keys or 0 admin keys, your rug risk would be the exact same. So I have been in a long discussion with Pulse Police, and they are standing their ground. They're just looking at it from a code is law perspective, and I can understand that. And they wouldn't allow me to add one line of context. They literally didn't have any interest in simply adding that, these keys are in fact needed so that we can execute the promise we are making. But I thought that would have been a fitting context to add. They thought otherwise. Um, I don't know what their motives are, but it is what it is, and we have put it to rest.
Yeah, and I'll say this, I agree with your original statement that the Pulse Police do serve a purpose, and have they helped people? They have, and I'll additionally say that I'm not sure what their motives are either, because we did deal with some of the same similar issues that you have, and there was some people that were very disrespectful and unreasonable in the Pulse Police, and I will say that right now. But again, it is a service. It is free. It's volunteer. I get it. I understand, and I do think they've helped people. But that's apart from your project. I just did want to make that known too. So let me ask you this: what is in it for you?
Yeah. So first of all, I'm a passionate builder. When I build things that people use and that helps them, that's what's in it for me. I've done this for 15 years, and I'm born to build, and I will continue to do so. From a professional perspective, I really like seeing people adopting and using technology I build. From a financial perspective, I earn 1% of all trades that happens on this pair. So that's how I am basically covering my development expenses, hosting, risk mitigation, possible LP loss, and all of these things, right? So I take just a simple 1% token fee through the Uniswap pool. That's it.
So on the Pulse chain side, who provides the liquidity to be divvied out?
So we have a win-win project. They provided, we Postpod provided a large bag, and then we had other baggers who, unfortunately, the FUD got to them, and they decided to back out. Like I think we had 60% of our baggers. They left with 3 hours until launch, so we were kind of in a scramble. But luckily, I have a pretty large bag myself, and I had to cover all of those who left 3 hours before launch. So it is mainly at this point, it is mainly me and our project that is backing the PLS.
So just thinking off the top of my head, this seems like an enormous amount of risk for you, apart from the other folks. Just thinking off the top of my head, like, so
Yep.
I don't why are you willing to take on so much risk?
Well, I don't see it as any risk at all, honestly. The only risk that there is, in my perspective, is that Postchain starts out at a 30x day one sack price, because then I lost money for sure. But other than that, I can't really see how I'm taking any risks.
Well, the market's dynamic, right? So not everybody is the redemption process going to be based on a front end? Do people have to go to a front end, or is it just airdropped, or what's that look like?
So the website currently has a swap section in the bottom, a claim section, so you can both
Okay.
buy it and you can claim it. You just go to the exact same site where you bought it, and then you can claim it. And right now we have the claim process is actually working on the testnet v4. So if you buy PLS IOU, let's say right now, 2 seconds later you get airdropped on the testnet, and then you can just claim it. It will burn your IOU token, and you will claim your TPLS basically. Yeah, so you can
Okay.
see you burn and mint.
Connect. Okay. And did you want to show the audience an example of how this works?
Yes, I can absolutely do that. I would love to do that.
All right. So just share your screen and then I'll be able to kind of show that.
Okay, 2 seconds. Oh, let me just see here. Chrome tab. I think this one here.
And let me
Let me
check
know.
the yeah, I see it here. I'll add it in just a second. Let me go over some comments here. David says, has this guy doxed himself? He's the founder and he's the guy who issued BNB pot, Pulse pot. Is that what it's called?
Yes.
So you'll be launching that on Pulsechain as well. So that's been around for about a year now. Am I correct in saying that?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay. And in Telegram and chat, and then online, I think you're Jacob, right? Jacob with
Yes,
Pulsechain IOU.
that's correct. And it's also correct that we are a non-dox team, and the reason for that is because gambling on blockchain is truly a gray zone. And I don't really, I have kids and stuff, so even though I would never in my life scam anyone, it's still such a regulatory gray zone that I really don't want to take any risks on it. And I guess we are kind of in the same position as Fiat and Famous, where the founders are also non-docs, but they have gained certain amount of trust simply by always providing, products and always living up to the roadmap and stuff like that. So over time, I think having a doxed identity is not what matters. I think we all have seen what happened with Mashinsky, Do Kwon, Shushu, Sam Bankman, and I could probably mention 10 others. So identity is not necessarily a guarantee. I think the track record of the people you're dealing with is probably better.
Cool. All right. So what we'll do now is I'll go ahead and share the screen here, and you can kind of walk us through this process.
Yeah. So when you arrive on the site, you can immediately see that you can connect your wallet here. I've already done that, and I can just reload here 2 seconds. What is? I think the screen share has done something here. Okay, sorry. So you can see that you can put in 100 or just one USDC, and let's see how many PLS tokens you will get. So in this case, you will get 432 PLS. But let's up that a bit, and I would like to get some more. Let me just. I think we have.
It's acting funny there.
Yeah, that this switches. There's something going on. I have to look into that. But anyways, I bought some, and this
Okay.
this is actually just a widget that is provided by Uniswap themselves. So it's just an embed widget. We have not built this or anything. This is just a simple widget that anyone can embed on a site straight from Uniswap itself. So I think we have to check in what's going on there. But then when you have bought it, you can actually click on the claim, and you will jump to the claim section now. What you can do here is that when you connect the same wallet, you can see that I have 143,000 PLS IOU. And if I want to do, I can burn this and mint it as TPLS. So let's just quickly check here. Okay, you can't see my MetaMask, but on my account right now, I have 42,475,441. So if I click claim, I sign a message, and we actually built this as a meta transaction technique, which means that you don't pay any gas to claim it. You only sign a message, and then it gets burned and claimed. This is important because these people, you see here, we have claimed successfully, check the transaction, and we go onto the testnet, And here you can see that it gave me the same amount of TPLS, and it took my PLS IOU. Um, but my point on the meta transaction is that the people who are purchasing this PLS IOU, they might have completely missed the sacrifice, and they might not have any Ethereum on the fork. So if we had made this as a classic swap or some sort of classic DApp, you wouldn't have gas to pay to claim the PLS from your IOU, right? So we had to build this claim DApp in a specific way where we are utilizing a technique called meta transaction. And what that does is actually you're just signing a message that proves to us that you are actually allowed to request this, and then we do the transaction on your behalf and we pay the gas fee. And that means that nobody will be stuck. If you have zero PLS when mainnet goes live, you can still claim all of your PLS from your PLS IOU tokens. And that was very important to me that we made this in a correct way. So now you can see when I connect my wallet, I have performed. I have zero now, so I cannot burn anymore and I cannot mint anymore because I already did so. And the
Got it.
PLS has already arrived perfectly to my wallet. I don't know if you can see here. This block explorer is I'm not a favorite. It's not a fan favorite, to be honest. But the TPLS did arrive correctly to my wallet. Maybe we can see it if we click here, and we can see token transfers. Yeah. So 2 minutes ago, I sent out to the null. I'm basically burning the entire amount I bought, and if we're lucky, no. Okay, so this Blog Explorer doesn't show the incoming PLS here for some reason, but you can try it out yourself, and you would immediately see that everything is working as expected. So obviously, when Pulsechain goes live, this will be deployed on mainnet, and anyone who bought would now go and claim their tokens on the Pulsechain side. So the product is completely done. You can buy the tokens here, or you can go to Uniswap and just copy the contract up here, copy it, and then go to Uniswap and buy them. And then you can read about it and get to understand what will happen. And then you can go here and test the claim DApp if you would like to already on testnet. But obviously, we are not burning your IOU token on Ethereum. We are just burning your IOU token on the testnet. And we made a airdrop script that's listening on all buys on Ethereum. So anyone who buys on Ethereum actually gets an airdrop from our contract on testnet v4 as well. And that's why you can already try this functionality here. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you for that. That makes sense there. Checking here. Somebody says, have the guest explain what happens if the trusted party chooses not to be trustworthy. So I guess the people who are backing this.
Yeah. And that's a very good question. So, first of all, we have to understand that this token is getting sold for a 20x price, right? And I have put that price so high that I truly believe there's a very small chance that would create a problem for us going after the mainnet fork. So if we have a big USDC pool, which there's already I think $150,000 that has come in, that's basically purchases of PLS IOU. That pool will get split based on how much these liquidity providers are backing it. So if someone put in 10% of the 100 million, they would get 10% of the USDC. And when the mainnet fork happens, if the price is under a 20x than what they gave for it, they are basically incentivized to deposit their PLS to the contract because it's an instant USDC win, right? And let's say someone dies or someone lost their keys or whatever. In that case, we have mitigated the backing in a way where nobody has more than a certain percentage amount. So if we would have to be extremely unlucky if two people die, or if two people out of a few handful of people who would suddenly go missing, right? But in a worst case scenario, we from our side, we have everything backed. We have more than enough PLS. We have backed it with 1,000 Ethereum, and we have created an insurance fund. And I simply cannot see any way where this should go wrong.
Okay, let's check here. Somebody says there's no way that you don't get it cheaper on mainnet. So they're making the case that if I have $1,000 now and I'm purchasing PLS IOU at 20 times, right? Um, that when Pulsechain launches, if it launches under a 20x, um, you're basically betting that it won't launch under a 20x, correct?
I would say that I really don't care because this is about adoption. And yes, it would be nice because it would give me a slight headache if it launches at 30x. Then I would probably have to chase the liquidity a little bit harder, if you know what I mean.
Mhm.
Because now you're actually providing it at a loss than what you sold it for in ETH, right? So yes, I would like it to launch lower so that I don't have to chase these people for the liquidity. But if it launches higher, then we lost some money. But at the same time, we were successful in creating a adoption tool for people who are now able to actually get in on the action, and we were successful in creating a marketing tool that all social media influencers can now have a chart, and they can now actually refer someone to a place where you can buy PLS, because you haven't been able to do that for years now, simply because the rate was so horrible on the official sacrifice. So, from our perspective, we are adding value by giving people opportunity. And if you think that this is a bad deal, then it's not for you. But we have $150,000 that thought it was a good deal, or at least a good hedge, because you might just put in 5%. And now you save 95% for the market, for the mainnet to go live, but maybe you want to just spend 5% on just getting like 1 million PLS IOU, so that if you're on vacation or whatever happens, or you're sleeping, whatever happens, but now you can sleep safe and know that you have at least some sort of allocation that you can go swap 1 to 1 no matter what happens with the USDC pricing. And I think that is probably the true value for those people who are making this, because I'm getting a lot of messages for people who are saying in DMs and saying, thank you so much for this opportunity. We have been waiting for so long, but we couldn't get ourselves to sacrifice because we were getting a horrible rate, and now this rate, it suddenly seems like a cheap offer in comparison, actually. So obviously, the on-chain data is there. There's demand for this, and we have people who invested hundreds of thousands of dollars at a worse rate are now coming to us to purchase. So we truly believe that we build a product with purpose and a product with actual adoption capabilities, and that's what the main focus is for me. If I'm gonna earn 20 grand or lose 20 grand in this, that doesn't really concern me.
Okay. Um, Thank you for that explanation. If you guys just joined and you're familiar with how we do business here, we get projects on the record and we get the information out there. I keep my opinions to myself, and you guys are able to make your own decisions on the data provided. And I try to ask the right questions. One question I forgot to ask you was, how much did you pay me for this interview?
I paid you exactly $0.
There we go.
But I
Or
would give
any
you a
or
big
anything
hug.
else.
Yeah.
Big hug. Yeah. All right. Well, I just wanted, and that's important to say too, folks. I don't ever take payment for any type of interview, and if I ever do in the future, which I don't foresee that I would, at least not with crypto, but I would always make it known if any money was involved, and no money has been involved with this whatsoever. Um. All right, guys, this is your last opportunity to ask him a question directly here. I know there's a little bit of a delay, so let me scroll up and see if there's any other questions. Um, let's just check. All right. Scroll
So
down
we have
here.
been
Yeah.
receiving a lot of FUD, and I think that was predictable. And in some ways, the Hexagon community is so well trained from Richard, and I do appreciate that. Like deep down, I really appreciate it. And even though in this case it's my project that gets hit by the bus, right? But somehow it is really sound. And I do appreciate at some level. The FUD has been overwhelming, I must admit. The amount of comments and tweets and like every Hexagon profile that I visit, we are just automatically blocked. Like I've never spoken a single word with 90% of these people, and we're already blocked. So I think that sometimes um, doing just 3 minutes of due diligence could probably go a long way. But it just seems to me that there's a scenario in the there's so many scams going on that it basically it's hard not to be so on the fence all the time, right? And honestly, I have full respect for that. So we are just trying to fight through the FUD, stand our ground, and when mainnet comes, everyone will be able to swap their PLS, and everyone will be happy. So I have no worry in the world.
Cool. All right, man. Well, one of the questions here, or kind of a statement, somebody says they predict a PLSX IOU. Is that something that's in the cards for you guys?
It would take 5 hours to set up, but honestly, I think this is significantly more demand on the Pulsechain one, simply because there was less wallets, it was further back, but also there was significantly more money sacrificed to the Pulsex one. And I'm not entirely sure what kind of price ratio we would start that at. And also another thing is that if the rumors are true, the time might be short, and I'm not entirely sure it would be worth our time to build it if we only have, let's say, 7 days of trading or 14 days of trading. So right now, I think it's in a limbo. We might do it, we might not, but it could be interesting. At least I think we have already 50 people who reached out to us to ask if we need liquidity for the PLX one. But so forth, I've had to turn all of them down because we haven't really made a decision.
Got it. Somebody says, so where can I see the transparency reports? I'd like to see proof that the PLS will be backed. I see no proof whatsoever on the website.
Yeah, so what kind of proof are you talking about? Would you be satisfied if I just listed 5 wallets? Well, anyone can go to the sacrifice checker and find 5 wallets, right? Or would you want a signed message from that wallet with the TPLS maybe? You know, what would be needed from your side, or what would qualify a proof that we have the PLS? I think that if we can prove that we have 1,000 Ethereum, there should probably not be much to worry about, because 1 billion PLS have no chance of costing more than 1,000 Ethereum. Simply no chance.
Got it. John May, I want to address this. If Rags has him on, then I trust him. For I trust Rags with my life, and that's 100. The whole point of this, is not to trust me. It's to listen directly from the founder. So you can trust or not trust what he is saying, but my purpose is to get that information out for people to make their own decision. That's important here. Cool. All right, guys, I think that's about it. Jacob, is there anything else that you would like to add here before we bounce out of here?
Yeah, so thank you for your time, and thank you for inviting us on, Rex.
Mhm.
That was very nice of you. What I want to appreciate on your part, is that not a lot of people in the current FUD storm wouldn't have had the balls to do what you were doing, and I think I really do appreciate that. You were kind of looking through all of that and looking under the hood, and you realized that there was some proper things going on here, and for that I truly appreciate. And we could need more guys like you in this ecosystem, honestly. And to the viewers, I will thank you for your time. I hope that I sparked a small interest. If you have any further questions, we will answer anything that comes along. If you can join our Telegram or ask on Twitter, that's mainly where we are. And if you have a friend or anyone who missed out on the sacrifice, you can be comfortable in sending them to Pulsechain IOU, and they will be able to reserve real PLS tokens for themselves. And this is the first and only trusted service that exists of this type. So we're just looking forward to show everyone that we are in fact going to honor every single token swap.
All right, Jacob, thank you very much, man. I'll go ahead and bring you out of here. And, one thing I like to tell everybody who comes on the show and we talk about projects is you get a lot of alpha and a lot of feedback from the comments. So it's really beneficial, I think, to go back through and check those out like about a day later. So just give you some feedback and you might be able to pivot one way or the other.
I would love feedback. Any professional loves feedback. Positive, negative, doesn't matter. Any feedback is appreciated. Thank you very much, guys.
Thanks, Jacob.
Okay, have a good one.
All right, you too. All right, ladies and gentlemen, there we have it. That was Jacob with Pulsechain IOU. He kind of summarized it in a way. I found out that this guy, he'd been around for a while. He'd already launched a project successfully. Didn't seem like there were any victims. It does make sense to me. I'm gonna hold my opinions about this project because I just want to be as unbiased as possible. But basically what he told me is what I had researched already. So I kind of had a pretty good understanding of what was going on here. And as always, I think it's important for you guys to be very honest and truthful in comments as you are. And that's really, really good feedback for these folks as well to see, what different direction they might be able to go or if they're on the right track. So again, guys, thank you. Let me check chat. Got it. John May says, thanks for making me feel dumb. That's the last time I say, dude, I've made you feel dumb so many times in my stream. Don't act like that's anything new, dude. Don't act like it. Ben says, this is a good idea. Extremely high risk with lots of red flags. Risk rugger hack. Okay. Thank you for sharing. And guys, here you go. This is what it's all about. You've got the information. Share this out if you need to. If somebody has any questions about this, I'm pretty sure we went over everything. And ultimately, that's what I wanted. I wanted to get somebody on record to be able for people to make their own decisions about this and ask those questions directly. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls from all over the world, my name is Rags Riches. As always, do not like, comment, or subscribe, and I am out.